Well, Rita, tell us what's been going on. Quarantine's back in the news. We've got, people turning up, Germans turning up on aeroplanes. It's all the usual confusion. What is actually going on? You and James went through quarantine. So what's happening? What's the real story?
In Sydney, but apparently 2 Germans somehow skipped through the system. I don't know how they've managed to do it. Victoria is actually restarting its hotel quarantine program from tomorrow for international arrivals. It hasn't had a hotel quarantine program for months now because of the second wave of infections. But these 2 Germans turned up in the state without doing the mandatory 14 days. And the Victorian government has sent a very stern please explain to the New South Wales government, wondering what's happened here. Now, James and I went through this process. I've been through it twice, travelling interstate to New South Wales and having to do a night of quarantine before going overseas, and then doing 14 days after arriving. And James, I don't know how they've managed to pull this off, because the security at Sydney Airport is just so strict and stringent. How did they do it?
I have no idea, Rita, and this story just rings very, very strange to me. I mean, you get off the plane from overseas, you are herded through all of these checks. There are guards and police and ADF every step of the way. There's Homeland Security. I simply do not know where there would be an opportunity for them to, number one, get out of the very, tight lines that they've got everybody, and then get through the cordons, and then somehow leave the international terminal and make their way to the domestic terminal to get on another flight to Melbourne. It's a very strange story. The reaction to it, of course, is predictably over the top. I mean, they've said, oh, well, everybody who was on the flight now needs to isolate for 14 days. Well, I hope that these guys test negative quickly so that they can, release this whole plane load of people from their own isolations. The whole thing strikes me as I'm not being a truther about the story, but it just strikes me as a very weird thing to have happen. I mean, you've got all of your bags, you've got all of your stuff, and somehow you're just slipping past all of these guards who are watching you like a hawk.
Well, I think we heard it. We heard it here first.
They've got massive guns.
We heard it here first. Quarantine gate. You heard it first here on Outsiders. Rita and James.
Trust the Germans to get through this. I mean, how did they? I just don't know. There were literally
they snuck under
guys
the wire.
everywhere.
They tunnelled through. They've got form in that.